You're listening to AW360, a podcast from Advertising Week. AW360 features thought leadership conversations with the best and the brightest in the advertising, marketing, and technology communities. If you enjoy AW360, we'd appreciate it if you took the time to subscribe on your podcast platform of choice, left a positive review, or shared with your friends and colleagues. Thanks for listening. What if your customers' voices revealed more than surveys or clicks ever could? Verena, Papik, CEO of Talkalytics, joins us today to discuss how emotionally intelligent AI is transforming marketing, unlocking raw insights, building trust, and showing why emotionally engaged customers spend twice as much. Verena explains how Talkalytics captures raw, unguarded feedback and turns it into insights that drive trust, loyalty, and growth. Verena, welcome to the AW360 podcast. I'm very excited to have you today as this took a little bit to get going.
So I am actually speechless, which doesn't happen very often, but I'm very happy to be here.
Well, we're pleased to have you. So to kick things off, tell us a little bit about Talkalytics.
Yeah, Talkalytics is a voice-first insight platform, and we really pull the truth back into marketing. So we have it works like a one friction-free link that can be text, email, or QR code, or even a tablet at a checkout, where we invite someone to leave a 60-second voice note. And our AI transcribes the clip. So we read the tonal cues like stress or excitement. We cluster themes with large language models, and we feed this whole thing into a live emotion dashboard straight to the team.
You've said that voice is 70% more revealing than video, which is news to me because I always think of, when I see somebody, I can see an eye roll, I can see a smirk, I can see all manner of, expressions that we make as human beings. But can you unpack what makes voice such a powerful emotional signal for marketers and how you capture that and translate that into insights?
Yeah, absolutely. The human voice is loaded with microsignals from pitch, pace, tremor, even half-second inhale, before a rant. It's a smile on the camera can be faked. And a little tremble in your voice, it's harder to control unless you're a trained actor. So voice is really uniquely unguarded. So you can't really backspace or run your answer for a GPT to make it sound clever. And people really speak from their heart and their gut. And honestly, they also overshare. So that rawness really is our gold. And our system really listens for those tones and vocal expressions. So everything from frustration to boredom to being polite or understanding sarcasm. And we pair that with a tonal score and with the actual words. So the phrase, let's say, for example, "that's sick," is different than "that's sick." That's crazy. So you really want to make sure that your tonality and what you're actually trying to say ends up in the right bucket.
You've gone from Musically to TikTok to now Talkalytics. So you've been at the forefront of all these tech and cultural shifts. How has your perspective on audience engagement evolved along the way? And what do you think most marketers still get wrong about understanding their customers?
Very loaded question. So Musically has really taught me creation is engagement, and users didn't just watch, they jumped in, they remixed, they wanted to be a part of it. That was pure unfiltered participation. And as the platform grew and turned into TikTok and exploded, I kind of saw that how authenticity faded out, and I wanted to bottle back this feeling that we originally created with Musically, which was really about being passionate, being genuine, being just living your passion and being truly who you are. And so I took this bottled kind of feeling that we wanted to create, or this platform we wanted to provide, and went back and looked into, okay, what is the most useful case we could create that matches, the user's excitement, wanting to share what they want to talk about to a brand. Like feeling heard is so important to them, versus also making it sense for the brand, because marketers have very specific questions they need answers to. And so that's really when I realized we don't particularly need for certain use cases social listening. What we need is social asking. And so that is really where we allow people to put everything into their own words and turn their passion into real engagement for brands.
I love that. Most brands are still using traditional metrics, clicks, surveys, that sort of thing. But Talkalytics is focusing on emotionally intelligent AI. What's the learning curve in adopting emotionally aware voice feedback, and how do you prove its ROI, especially in an industry that is, I dare say, reluctant to embrace new things or sometimes even afraid of them?
Yeah, I think the ramp up is really quick because we're not asking teams necessarily to relearn analytics. It's more of like swapping your static checkbox for a living and breathing dashboards with emotions. Where think of Talkalytics as the net promoter score with a heartbeat. So that promoter score tells you the intent. Would you recommend us? But we surface actual emotions behind the intent. So instead of like a single 1 to 10 score, you really understand if people are excited about you as the product, as a brand, and how they truly feel about you.
Emotionally engaged customers spend 2 times more, which is a stat every CMO wants to hear, and one that I can attest to because, I'm a fan of Apple, which is at least 2 times more, and Nike, which is approaching 2 times more most of the time I make a purchase there. Can you walk us through a real world use case where Talkalytics has helped a brand boost performance by tapping into that emotion over, say, opinion?
Yes. And one of our most telling cases involves actually a very big global tech company that is hugely respected for innovation, but very often slammed online for being cold or maybe unsafe or having privacy issues and stuff like that. So they hosted actually an event offline, packed with sponsors and media, and they wanted to understand if that event was really moving the needle for them. So we deployed Talkalytics on site with QR codes on badges and tablets where people could record their voices. And so by the end of the week, we really were able to capture like thousands of voice responses. And so we then mapped the emotions to the main signal of what people were saying and how they were feeling about the brand. And so it turns out that they were actually more curious than judgmental. So you online, and that is a perfect example how, when you focus on the social listening aspect online, people like having all these strong opinions, but then you ask them on the ground of like, how do you feel about their product? And people were actually, honestly, I don't really understand it. I feel insecure, or I don't really know how to trust them better. I would love for them to explain to me this and this more. I don't fully get it. So that really helped that company to address this emotion of insecurity and feeling unsafe, and actually doing a better job in their marketing channels, their communication and ads, and just proving that this event offline was actually a great vessel to bring people together and to create that trust as well.
Very curious to know who you're talking about. I know you're not going to tell me. It's okay. But just a company, that's a tech company. Um, how do your personal roots influence your leadership style and your mission to help people and, your partners and clients reach their full potential?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a world that is pretty much pictured like The Sound of Music. Have you seen the movie before?
Of course, yes.
So my mom is actually yodeling in the Alps right now as we speak. No joke. We wear these dresses, but leaving such a small town and moving to China, to London, to the rest of the world has really been, you know, been teaching me a lot of persistence, resistance, and really a belief that dreams don't, like, your postcodes doesn't define your dreams.
Hmm.
And so that mindset shapes really how I lead today. So I ask every new hire, for example, where do you want to be in 10 years? Because when I decided to leave my hometown, it was the same thing. I imagined myself, where do I want to be in 10 years, right? And so the better you understand where someone wants to be, it could be equally a client. Like, where do you want to be with this? When you sign up on Talkalytics, you say, like, you have it, we can resolve your pain point. Imagining we resolving that pain point, like, what is your ideal outcome? And so we're really able to support on that journey by knowing that. And so here's one thing that most people don't know about me either. I have been a waitress for years, and it really taught me that a purpose exists in every single role as well. So there's a lot of people also, leadership and purpose and potential all go together for me. And it's really important that you also understand your purpose, because you can have lots of inspiration, but you're not going to build up persistence and persistence if you are not fully sold on your purpose. So, referring back to the waitress story, as a server, you might think you have like limited power, but you can flip someone's entire day. So, for example, they walk in stressed, but you can turn them around smiling. So, even as a waitress, you have like impact on the most like granular levels. So, whenever we're working with clients, or the team, or building products, shipping new code, it's really about how could we also lead every single one of us, no matter with the daily interactions we have, lead with purpose with what we're doing.
Looking ahead, how do you see emotionally intelligent AI reshaping the future of customer experience and brand storytelling, especially as voice interfaces are going mainstream?
I think we're heading towards a world where sentiment is as easy to capture a keyword. So in 5 years, your earbuds or your car dash, or even the voice assistant on your coffee machine, will pick up on like subtle shifts in your tone or emotions and have them overhanded to brands in real time. So that doesn't replace asking for feedback, but it does mean companies can sense mood and react on the spot before the whole Twitter or X shitstorm is going to come around.
When it comes to modern day voice assistants, are you using them in your day to day life? And are you impressed by how they perform compared to the promises that were given on the consumer side from these massive tech companies who are building them?
I think that is a very interesting question. And of course, I am experimenting a lot with voice to text, email dictations, and the day to day interactions. I do think they've got over the last year so much better. It's an incredible support in our day to day life. And what we're seeing with Talkalytics as well is that is why we have also an average of 30% higher response lift on surveys, because the convenience factor is there. And more people are getting used to using their voice for everything, for switching the lights off, for turning the music on, for even like navigating the car. So I think as we are also helping these tech companies with using it and complaining and having feedback, helping them to get better.
My last question is something of a crystal ball question. I like to ask this of everybody I have on the show, just because I kind of want to know what everybody thinks we're going to see in the coming time. And because you're in such a specific area of the industry, you're probably better suited to answer this than many. If you're looking 1 year or 5 years down the road, what sorts of things do you think marketers are going to see in your particular vertical that are exciting to you?
So, very exciting to see will be that marketers are going to be able to be more personal. That means not one ad fits it all. We're going to have adaptive narratives based on the person's background, on the customer's background and their own story, to really fit into their emotional needs. And we'll be able to just genuinely serve, I think, as marketers better. And that is one reminder that I really want to put to all marketers out there as well, is that we are essentially building a brand, and the brand means trust, and the brand stands for something, and the brand really curates emotion. So I think that the future will allow us to tap back into the actual emotion that we want to curate with our audience or customers, versus over the last years, and I will say Musical.ly and TikTok has been a big part of that push. We have been pushing for reach, and clicks and likes and getting out there. And I think it will be very exciting to see how we're all coming back centered and are being way more intentional with who we want to reach, who is our audience, who do we want to engage with, and just having a much more intense, maybe fewer, but way more intense interactions with our customers, and hence stronger loyalty.
I love that. Well, Verena, thank you so much for being on the show. If one wanted to find out more about Talkalytics, where would you send them?
So yeah, if you're really curious to hear what your customers sound like, come to talkalytics.com. But just don't send me a voice note. Here's the thing, what we also found, people love sending them, but other people hate receiving them.
Really? That's fascinating. It's so much easier.
We listen to them for you.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for being on the show today. This was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much, Richard.
Thanks for listening to AW360. For more podcasts like this one, be sure to check out Advertising Week's ever-growing roster of podcasts for the advertising, marketing, and technology industries, including The Trust Makers, our podcast with the Edelman Trust Institute, now in its 4th season. You'll find all of Advertising Week's podcasts at www.advertisingweek.com/podcasts. Thanks for listening.